Madam Speaker, I thank you and the Parliament for allowing me to introduce myself for the first time in this chamber as the newly elected member for Wanguri in the 15th Northern Territory Legislative Assembly. In August this year, the voters of Wanguri electorate, which includes the suburbs of Wanguri, Lianya and part of Muirhead, placed their faith in me to represent them for the next 4 years in this Parliament. I thank them for making this resounding change after a record 35 years where they showed courage, trusted the policies our party wanted to deliver and looked to a new direction. I have to make special mention to all those who were brave enough to vote for change and the residents who displayed my corflutes on their fences and in their yards. The electorate consists of nearly 10,000 persons, with almost 50% males and 50% females, with a median age of 34 years. Majority of the ethnic groups are Australian, Chinese, Indian, Greek, Philippines, and now Nepalese, with nearly 45% both parents born overseas. Many are public servants, with a large number working at the hospitals, defence, educators, retailers and small business owners. Many have retired and still live in the electorate. I would like to formally say thank you to my two parliamentary colleagues, the member for Breitling, Joshua Burgoyne, and the member for Katherine, Joanne Hersey, who a year ago, exactly today, met me for the first time in this chamber and encouraged me to run as the CLP candidate for Wanguri. Special mention must also go out to the CLP members who endorsed my candidate application, and they are Fiona Darcy, Glenda Stripling, Christina Boothby, Richard Setter, Leonie Melder and Derek Mager. They also became my great supporters throughout the campaign and many times attending functions, markets and roadsides. I thank the members of North Darwin and Trower CLP branches who also supported my campaign, and special mention to the campaign team in headquarters, Alison, Brett, Will, Michael and many others. I thank the residents who opened their doors or stood at their gates and shared their common concerns and stories. On many occasions, it was a lonely walk each day, but over the months I became familiar with the residents and they trusted me enough to share their concerns, and our party listened and created policies to reflect. I thank those who gave up their time to door knock with me, May, Di, Marie-Claire and Leah, our leader. I thank the community groups who accepted me into their activities and cultural festivities, which has enriched my life as I was able to resonate with them as many of the migrants, with many as a child of migrants myself growing up and living in the Territory. I thank the neighbouring electorate candidates, Casuarina, Sanderson and Karama, for having the same determination to bringing back the Territory lifestyle, and during campaign we forged a team who would work for the betterment of the northern suburb residents. My pre-poll team and volunteers, thank you and special mention to Cheryl, Catherine, Malay, Neelam, Vicky, Aaron, Sanjeev and many more. It is now a privilege to now serve the Wanguri electorate in the CLP Finocchiaro government. I am proud to be part of this newly elected government, which consists of a team with experience, gender, age, religion and race. I myself am proud of my Indonesian heritage. Which both my parents are Indonesian migrants who made Darwin their home and raised their family here. I proudly state that I am Territorian and am the first with the Indonesian heritage from both parents to be elected into the NT Parliament. I'm a Territorian that was born at the old hospital at Miley Point, with my late father, Amos Helwin, arriving here in 1937 with the pearling industry, and my mother, Katerina Bungalai, in 1974 on a business trip. I wish to acknowledge my parents' sacrifice in moving to a new country and laying the foundations for the next generations. When my father came to Australia as a young 20-year-old, he didn't know what to expect and what paths he would follow. He followed the early migration of his uncle, Temsia Karsina, to Thursday Island and worked for a Japanese pearling company between Broome and Darwin, earning £4 a month. He was working in Darwin during the bombing of Darwin and survived. He later joined the Merchant Navy as a crewman, moving cargo and dodging air raids in Port Moresby Harbour during World War II. His last cargo ship, the merchant vessel Tulagi, saw him earning £120 per month, taking flour and mail to Colombo, which is known today as Sri Lanka. In 1944, MV Tulagi was torpedoed in the Indian Ocean by a German U-boat and sank, leaving 15 men who survived the sinking and 39 perished that fatal attack. The survivors drifted on 2 makeshift rafts, my father on Raft 1 with 6 other men, and drifted for 59 days in the Indian Ocean, landing in the Seychelles, but unfortunately Raft 2, carrying the other 8, perished only days before the landing. My father speared fish and a turtle with a makeshift spear from a pair of scissors he'd grabbed during the sinking, and foods such as milk tablets and biscuits ran out earlier but kept them going in the initial stages. They collected rainwater, catching it with a tarpaulin. My father was later awarded his British Empire Medal for bravery and attention to duty by the Governor-General, Mr. McKell, in 1949. I share this story as this laid the foundations of my father in becoming an Australian citizen, and to remind those of his courage as a young migrant. I also share this story to let others know that our family has a long history with Darwin, and in fact, the road to Robertson Barracks from the Stewart Highway is named after that ship, the MV Tulagi, Tulagi Road. My father now lays at rest at the General Cemetery in Jingley, as his Australian War Memorial plaque is also mounted at the Thorak Remembrance Garden. Not only did my father survive the bombing of Darwin, the sinking of MV Tulagi, but he also survived Cyclone Tracy and was a council worker with the Darwin City Council at that time. My mother was pregnant with myself during Cyclone, and lucky enough, we had family out at Berry Springs with a large solid brick house, which kept them all safe. Although my father is no longer with us, he was the quiet achiever and our family pioneer, which has given me the qualities to lead my community today. I sincerely am grateful for his determination, even when things were tough. Which brings me to my mother, who was here this morning and is always a pillar of strength. Although her health has slightly declined over years, she is always full of encouragement. Thank you, Mum, for always being a guide and our strength. Mum and Dad raised us at Rapid Creek, but moved to our farm at Acacia Hills in 1981, where we had an amazing territory upbringing. We were long-term residents of the rural community, and to this day have lifelong friends who we call family. I was lucky enough to have an education at Rapid Creek Primary, Berry Springs Primary, and Timmerman High School, where the schools were an integral part of the community. I still have many friends from those days I still proudly call my friends. I remember we would leave home early to catch the bus, and school was the place to be. The teachers were the pillars to our community and wonderful role models for myself and many others. With not a lot of fancy technology back then, sports was prominent, and many afternoons the school bus would transport many of us to different events representing the school. We always rallied around the children who would go on to represent at high levels. I'm fortunate that for nearly 19 years now, I'm lucky that I live in a street that fosters the same values and connections I had as a child. We look after one another, and rarely does one move from this street in Leanya. Which brings me to the reason why I stood up at the recent August election, as I could see this wonderful territory lifestyle being eroded away. I was and am still concerned for the safety of the community, which needs to be restored, and our lifestyle reputation needs to be repaired. The Wanguri, Lianya and Muirhead residents deserve to raise their families and retire in a safe community. I have raised my family here and looking forward to the next generation to enjoy what we had in the earlier years. Most people in the electorate, including my family, choose to live here due to the close proximity to shops, the hospital and other lifestyle needs. But in the last few years, constituents are prepared to give up this lifestyle due to the increasing levels of crime and antisocial behaviour. I understand the community and their needs better as I've invested and set roots in this electorate by raising my own family here. We've adopted the local park, Peace Park, and initiated tree planting, and my husband was instrumental in getting additional footpaths for all abilities, which now see the park being utilised by all ages and all abilities. I've lived in the electorate for nearly 19 years and will continue to do so. I live in the electorate through buying my first house in Lianya and raised my family here and continue to live in that same house. I worked for the Commonwealth Bank for almost 25 years, and majority of that service was in financial planning industry, which involved listening to clients' concerns and providing strategic advice for better outcomes. I began as a teller at the Casuarina branch, and the team was a dream team, many of who I worked with to this day are my closest friends and have supported my working career. I moved in customer service and for a short 6 months transferred to Bondi Beach in Sydney. Unfortunately, due to a tragic family incident where the family farmhouse burnt down, the CBA assisted in transferring me back to Darwin to help my family. I was the manager of telling during the 2000 millennial changeover, and lucky enough, all the planning in place was not needed as we rolled into the 21st century. As I moved into financial planning, this was a space where I could hone my skills in listening and solving. During that time, I helped many clients solving financial pressures and preparing them for self-funded retirement. I'm proud to say that our small team in the Northern Territory won a number of state and national bank awards due to our commitment to our clients. I believe these skills provided me with the best attributes to be able to listen to the constituents and resolve their concerns with a party that cares for their community. These clients are now informing me that they struggle to go out and spend their retirement capital safely in this community. Whilst working for the Commonwealth Bank, I became a mum and learnt to juggle work and parenting. I was fortunate to work in a team who supported this. I did have a break for a year, and during that time reflected on all good things I'd done in helping people becoming financially secured. I missed interacting with people and returned to work for a medium-sized firm in the financial planning industry for a year. But something else was on my cards, to help even more people. I was endorsed to run for the CLP in February and began to transition into my new role and using my knowledge and skills to listening to constituents and piecing together solutions from the get-go. As stated earlier, majority of the constituents are frontline services workers, public servants, small business owners, families and our senior members of our community who just want to live in the Territory lifestyle in safety. I have been privileged over my time working in the finance and meeting a lot of the residents in the electorate through my past work, and now more privileged to assist them all on a bigger scale. I understand the cost of living pressures as I've had mortgages while living in the electorate, raising my family and continue to live there. As we continue to live in the electorate, many of our family, friends and acquaintances have raised the issue about crime and antisocial behaviour and the flow-on effects of the rising cost of living, and this motivated me running for the seat of Wanguri, and the results of hard work and determination has resulted in myself being that voice in Parliament today. When the community are at risk to crime, it's no longer acceptable to stand back. The electorate deserves a member that will listen and work with a team that has lived experience and get the territory back on track. I'm prepared to bring my work and life experience, cultural background and hard work ethic to bring back the NT to the forefront, where it belongs on the map, in the CLP Finocchiaro government. My promise to the people of Wanguri is that I will not rest and work every day to make this place resemble the wonderful territory I know and love, and will continue to fight and advocate for those who need it. Many who know me can attest to this work ethic, and I'm already seeing some results in the last few weeks as we've begun to work from our office at Hibiscus Shopping Centre. I know the team at the office will work just as hard as myself, and I thank my team in advance, led by Jade at the moment. In closing, there are a few more thank yous, and that is my family, who some were here this morning and presented me to this Parliament and have been my biggest supporters. Apollonia, Bebby, Johannes, Faisal, Michael and Benhu, who stood by me and letter dropped each time I asked. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. To my son, who I can't see, there he is, Ryan Amos Oly Carlson, who made me the person I am today. Fighting for everything I missed out as a child with parents less fortunate. I hope that I have made you proud, as I know you have missed out a lot, as I've had to work many hours and will continue to do so in the future, always advocating for others. I hope you see a parent that wants to make this place a better place for you and for your future generations. Sorry. Last but not least, thank you to my husband, Oly Carlson, who supported me through this journey. After being together for 25 years, has stood by me when I've made decisions for our family. He was not in agreement, but trusted that all would be good. He encouraged me to be the new voice of the people of Wanguri and worked tirelessly in the background and continues to do so every day. Thank you for all the early mornings and the late nights. Until today, nothing has changed. Thank you for letting me be part of a bigger community and helping those in need. Thank you. Madam Speaker, thank you for giving me this opportunity to thank those who helped the people of Wanguri have a new voice. Thank you to the people of Wanguri for trusting me to be their advocate for the next 4 years, and I hope that there will be many achievements in this new term to show you all that I am committed to the community.